Welcome. Welcome to Media and Society. And for some of you, it's your first semester at Lehigh. So welcome to Lehigh. If this is your first semester, I think you're going to find out that you'll love Lehigh. I've been here for 30 years. Got here, my first job, never thought I would be staying here, and here I am years later. So I've been teaching 30 years. I can see alumni from all those 30 years. People just keep coming back to Lehigh because they like it so much. So you're going to enjoy your time here. And you're going to enjoy this class, Media and Society. What could be a better topic during a pandemic? Think of how you spent your last 3 or 4 months. You were probably completely absorbed and embraced by media and embraced media. That's how a lot of us have made it through. So you're going to really like Media and Society. So who are your professors? So my name is Professor Jack Luley in the journalism department at Lehigh. You may have looked at the name and thought it was Lul. That's the most common pronunciation for it. We're actually going to do a module at some point on migration and how people's names got changed when they came from different places. It's really pretty interesting. But the name is Jack Luley. You'll find journalism and me in Copay Hall most of the time, which is near the University Center, but now we'll just do everything remotely and everything by email. I'll explain all that. About midway through this semester, we're going to have another professor. Craig Gordon is his name. Really interesting consultant and had a couple of startups, Lehigh alum. He's going to take over the middle part of the class, and then we'll be back together again. So those are your two professors, Jack Luley and Craig Gordon. So my first day, when we're in person, I usually get into the class, have you introduce yourselves, introduce myself as I just did, and then go through this online syllabus. And that's primarily what I'll do today. So the first thing I have to do is introduce you to something called Coresight, if you haven't been familiar with that already. Now I know we have some other people in the class from sophomore year, and so they know all about Coresight, but it's a learning management system or content management system. And all the professors put their classes up there and run their classes from there, particularly during these remote times. You might use something like it in your high schools if this is your first time at Lehigh, but the entire class will be run off of Coresight. And so on Coresight, you're going to see what I call an online syllabus. And that syllabus has all the different things you might expect in a traditional syllabus. Grading and attendance and accommodations, all those sorts of things. So I'm going to go through those things with you now. It's always going to be at Coresight, so you'll be able to find it for our first week right at the top of the page all the time. Textbooks. One of the first things that people are wondering is, should they buy a textbook, and what book should they have for the class? And I can tell you one of my pet peeves after all these years of teaching, I hate the price of textbooks. You probably have seen already some of the cost of the textbooks that you're being required to buy. In fact, I disliked it so much. A few years ago, I actually wrote a free textbook. I just wrote the textbook, made it available to a publisher, and said this has to be free on Creative Commons. We used that for a while, but unfortunately it keeps going out of date, and I don't have enough time to keep writing a textbook every year. But there's still going to be no textbook required for this class. I have all our readings and everything put on Coresight, PDFs, chapters from books. I talked to the authors, got permission, they completely understood. So you won't have to buy any textbooks for the class. Attendance is something that students often wonder about, particularly in a person class. Can they miss? Can they not miss? And then it gets even stranger in an online situation. So for us, we're actually going to have Zoom meetings every week, but you probably were dreading that because it's Zooming every class is just too much to take, and it's too much for the professors, it's too much for the students. And so our attendance is going to be that I've divided the class up into 4 groups, right? There's 36 of us, 36 of you. And so 9 students in each section, and those 4 groups are going to be split up between Mondays and Wednesdays. And I'll send you an email about this. but the first 9 are going to meet from 12:10 to 12:40 on Monday. And then the second 9 are going to meet from 12:50 to 1:20 on Monday. The third 9 are going to meet on Wednesday, 12:10 to 12:40. And the fourth group is going to meet from 12:50 to 1:20. So the maximum amount of time you'll be on email for or on Zoom for our class is going to be 30 minutes. And I think that's just appropriate, to have somebody lecture to all 36 of you for that time period. I don't think we would get anything out of it. This way we'll have a small group discussion. It's kind of based on the British tutorial system, where professors would meet with small groups of students. And so that's what I'm going to strive for with Zoom. I'll send you an email that tells you what group you've been assigned to. So how will those Zoom meetings run? Okay, I teach something called, or a method called the Socratic method, named after Socrates, you might guess. And his way of teaching really was just to keep asking questions of his students and of the people around him. And that's the way I want to run ours. I want to hear from you. I'm not going to get you together for 30 minutes and talk to you. Right? I want you talking to me. And so I'm going to give you readings. I'm going to give you all the questions that I want you to get out of those readings in advance. And then when we get together, I'm going to ask them of you. I'm going to say, Jim, what question number 1 asks for, what did Turkle mean by this phrase? What do you think? And I said, Allison, what did you think about that one? Right? And we'll just move around. No one's going to have to raise hands or anything like that. Over the years, students have found that they really like that. There's no one this responsibility to raise your hand, or am I talking too much? Am I talking too little? I'll take care of all that. And I just want to engage you in discussion, and having just 9 of us at a time, I think will make that work really well. So grading is always something that students are concerned about, and my philosophy is I want you all to get A's. And it's not a hard thing to do. For me, if you're showing up to class every day, and that means in Zoom, and that also means sending in responses, getting to the emails, you're going to do really well with the class, because you're going to always have the questions in advance. I'm not trying to fool you. I'm not trying to hide you, which is important, which is not. There are things I really want you to know, and I'm going to make sure that I tell you what they are. We'll talk about them. You'll read about them first. We'll talk about them. And then you'll study them for quizzes, and then you'll study them one more time for exam. By that time, you're going to know them, right? And it'll be pretty painless. We'll have probably 4 quizzes over the course of the 15 weeks, and then 2 exams. You're right around midterm and final, so that you'll have plenty of time to be ready for those. But always, the questions are going to come from the concept questions that I'm going to give you each week, so you'll always know what's going to be on them. I want to go back to that schedule of Monday and Wednesday, because to me, it's just a great rhythm for students who are busy with a lot of different things going on. And I purposefully asked for those days over the years. And the reason for it is that I don't give you any homework on Monday to be ready for Wednesday. With 36 hours later, you're supposed to have it done, right? You're not going to get it done well. So what I do is I give the assignments on Wednesday. You have 5 days to get ready for them. I give you the questions in advance, you do the readings, you see the videos, and Monday when you show up, or Wednesday, depending on your group, bam, we'll hit the ground running, I'll ask you the questions. Okay? So you'll always have 5 days in advance. It's a really good rhythm to be in. So even when remote or not remote, I found that time period really works. Most of your classes are probably going to be remote, so you're going to have to figure out what times work best for you. Now, sometimes students thrive online, because they're able to get their work done in the middle of the night, at 2 o'clock in the morning. They're not having to be class at 10 a.m. or 8 a.m., God forbid. And so if you can find a good schedule for yourself, you can thrive online. And a lot of students do. I've been teaching online. I actually offered the first online class at Lehigh back in the 90s. And I find that some students really thrive online. So you try to be one of those. There's a couple of statements you'll see on the syllabus, and almost all our Lehigh classes have them. One is called the Principles of Equitable Community, and it just sort of sets the standards for good discussions in a classroom and how we treat one another. I've never had an issue with that at Lehigh, and I'm sure we won't either. And the other is a statement of accommodations. If you need extra time for quizzes or exam or something, and you've been to the health center and you've got some documentation, just send that to me and let me know. And so with that, we'll get ready for our class on Monday and Wednesday. I'm really looking forward to it. Love teaching and like teaching this class because, as I said, the topic is great. And I think particularly in these times. So we'll have a really enjoyable semester. I'll see you then.